If you ask me what I missed the most on this trip, it's my espresso machine. As crazy as that sounds, having the convenience of the espresso machine at home to make a flat white whenever I want.
Must be nice.
It's pretty great. When I'm feeling a bit of a craving for a flat white, this is pretty well the closest approximation. Especially from Cairns to Port Lincoln, I don't think I found one flat white I enjoyed. I always grind coffee fresh. These are all of 15s when it comes to coffee. Green beans are good for 15 months, roasted beans are good for 15 days, and ground coffee's good for 15 minutes. I use a Paulex hand grinder, there's Harrier, there's way flasher grinders than this. I got this for $10 off Facebook Marketplace. That's a bit of a steal, but usually about 50 or 60 bucks. Well worthwhile in my opinion. Set your coffee grinder so it's reasonably fine espresso, which is what it is at the moment. The adjustment down there. And then fill up your grinder. And then hand it off to somebody else so you don't have to do it. In the meantime, I'm going to heat up a little bit of water. I'll tell you why in a second. So for those who don't know, how a Mokapot works is you put the water in the bottom, it pushes up through the basket that holds the coffee grounds, and it pushes the coffee out the top. The longer you expose the coffee to the heat, the more likely you are to get more burnt flavours, less than optimal taste. The shorter you can have the coffee over the heat for it to complete the process, the better it's going to taste. So that's why I heat up a bit of water first.
This is my Everest.
Preferably don't get someone who's had a full elbow reconstruction to grind your coffee because they're way too slow.
When we were talking about the different ways that we'd make coffee on the trip, we knew that we wanted to be able to do instant because it's so quick and it's a really great kind of road stop way of doing coffee, even though we have it every morning. But then we also wanted some really nice coffee, and Mokapot was my suggestion just because it's really easy to do and it is just my favorite way of having a coffee. So yeah, it's yum.
So that water doesn't have to come to a boil, it has, but doesn't, like, as long as it's warm, as long as it's not completely cold, it will reduce the amount of time that the Mokapot's sitting on the heat. Turn that off, fill the bottom chamber to the mark. Whack in your basket, in goes the coffee. The bottom chamber is really hot. Alright. One bonus about doing it when you're camping is just level it off onto the ground. Beautiful. On goes the lid. And onto the stovetop. And don't do what I did. I bought a new Mokapot for the trip. This burner puts out so much power, so I put it in the middle and I put it on. The coffee finished, you know, whatever. I melted the hell out of the handle, so don't do that. Put it slightly offset so that the flames still underneath the bottom, but then keep the heat pretty low. Open the lid so you can keep an eye on it, because when it's finished, you don't want it to be sitting there boiling away. You want to turn it off as soon as it's finished. While that's going on, heat up a bit of milk. Sponsored, Woolworths, thank you. Thanks for the milk.
Wouldn't that be great though?
Wouldn't it be great to be sponsored by Woolworths?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I agree with their sustainability practices or anything.
I know, we go almost every day.
Yeah, no. And just pop it in, eyeball it, again over low heat. Now we wait. Don't let the milk heat up too much. If you get milk past 75 degrees, I think, denatures it, so it tastes gross. Like, even if you let it cool down again, it'll still taste bad. I'm making this for myself, so it doesn't really matter. You could use a thermometer. I make it for myself. I just make sure it's not too hot in the mouth. I just taste it as it's going along. And if you're using a thermometer, just don't go over 60 and you'll be fine. So the coffee's starting to come out now. Keep an eye on it. I just keep it as low as possible. It's almost there. Once it starts to really start like foaming up a lot, stop, turn off the coffee, close the lid, you're ready to go. Camping flat white. Because you've got to set up the stove, it's sort of more of a special treat than a convenience cup.